religion get political? Nope. Good night, everybody. Alright, so that was a short answer. Long answer, obviously your beliefs are going to influence your beliefs. But that being said, don't let your religion be the reason you vote a certain way or align with a party or, you know, whatever. If you look at the Christians, most of them vote right and Republican, not necessarily because they think it's the right thing to do, but because that's part of their camp, right? And it is true that most heathens have at least a libertarian lean. Maybe not libertarian necessarily in the Penn Jillette way. It might be a little bit more, I don't know, Chomsky or whatever. I mean, most pagans, one of the reasons we become pagans is because we want freedom. You know, we want freedom of belief. We don't want to subject ourselves to dogma or the ethics of a hierarchy of a church. And that's really all libertarianism is. It's, you know, not to be confused with, obviously, with the Libertarian Party here in America, which I am a member of. I don't fully agree with everything, as I'm not somebody that's going to follow an ideology just for the sake of following an ideology, which is pretty much my advice on that. Like, I'm not going to turn this channel into a political channel. If I do feel like ranting about something, I'll put it in wolf's droppings, kind of like I did with the Joker review / kind of a rant on mental health and talking about the Punisher and hopes for Moon Knight. I actually had somebody, a friend of mine from SAC actually, that was asking me about a kindred he was joining. And the kindred seemed to be very, from what I remember the description, kind of militant left and very like, if you don't believe this, then you're wrong, which is just a completely negative way to do anything, to go about anything. If you remember when I was talking about Frith in a previous video and letting people grow in your kindred, I choose to let people choose for themselves. Like, it's not my place to make decisions for you. And I wouldn't dictate a belief or a religious doctrine, how you believe, what political party you align with. I would never dictate any of that stuff to my kindred, which is one of the major differences between my brand of goathing and, you know, what a priest or pastor might do, right? I'm not going to stand at a pulpit, not that I have one, and I'm not going to espouse how you should believe. And that was basically my advice to him, was be cautious with a kindred like that, because it's kind of a toxic environment. And to me, that sounded like some kind of militant Antifa kind of thing. And if you have watched me for a while, you know I disagree with anybody that's got an extremist view, no matter how in the right you are or the left. If you're hurting people and damaging property, and you know, if you're doing all that, then you're not gonna win the hearts and minds that it takes to actually incite true revolution, true change. And for me, philosophy, politics, religion, a lot of that stuff is interconnected. I mean, I'm extremely pro-freedom. Obviously, that's one of the things I espouse on this channel. You know, freedom of belief and finding your own way. I try to define things certain ways, but I'm not going to tell you that you have to believe this certain thing. Do compulsively correct people on things, I'm not gonna lie. But it's stuff like using the eth. That's a common one I see a lot. Using the eth as a D, or, you know, getting certain runes wrong, or historical errors, stuff like that. I'll correct people on stuff like that. But I don't dictate how you should believe. I will tell you why I believe what I believe, but I'll never tell you what you should believe. Other than, don't be a dick, I guess. It's also kind of a common theme on here. And something else to watch out for, aligning yourself with camps. Be careful of the information that you take in. A lot of talking heads, no matter if it's a religious channel, a political channel, articles, newspapers, the town crier, whatever you have, get multiple sources for your information. Don't be afraid to watch somebody you disagree with. I have a few more liberal sources that I watch on a semi-regular basis, and I have a few conservative sources that I watch on a semi-regular basis. Sometimes I'll have to turn off some of them if I'm like, you know, this is just an absolutely insane thing, and sometimes I'll power through and just try to get that opinion even if I disagree. Steven Crowder is a good example of somebody that I'll watch even though I disagree with him on a lot of things. And if you look at his format, it's apparent that he's like a shock jock too. He's got almost the exact same setup as Howard Stern. Like, I know he's a comedian, but like Howard Stern, you know, was a shock jock and openly a shock jock. He might have even been the first, I'm not sure. Steven Crowder is 100% somebody that feeds off of that conservative base. Same thing with somebody like Rachel Maddow. She completely thrives on a liberal base. I know this is kind of getting political, but it's more like filter the ideas that you absorb through logic, interpretation, and overall just understanding that people have agendas. Steven Crowder 100% makes a bunch of money off of angry conservatives, and Rachel Maddow 100% makes her ratings and thus her money off of liberal anger a lot of the times. Honestly, I don't watch Rachel Maddow that much. I usually watch YouTube other than a few clips. I don't really think she's on here too much, but she's just probably the best example I can think of. Because you do also have like liberal sources like John Green and Hank Green, the Vlog Brothers, I believe they call themselves. They're fairly liberal. And they don't seem too crazy, which is nice. I've seen a little bit of bias in some of their actions, but not in their opinions necessarily. And my opinions have wavered. Like, I'm definitely very left libertarian, you know, classical liberal on a lot of things. And then I might be a little more conservative on some things, and even socialist on a couple of ideas because of just certain things I've seen within the businesses that I've worked for. So to summarize, in this video that's shorter than my last one, philosophy, religion, and politics are related, and it's very hard to separate them, especially because it's just opinion. We're just defining various different things. I mean, philosophy encompasses all of it, really. The important thing is to try to think for yourself.
And up to a certain age, by the way, kids are going to believe everything a grown-up tells them, everything. So kids never learn to question things. Nobody questions things in this country anymore. Nobody questions things. Why? People are too fat and happy. People are way too fucking prosperous for their own good. Everyone's got a cell phone that'll make pancakes and rub their balls now, you know? So nobody wants to rock the boat. And people just gizmo. Americans have been silenced, bought off and silenced by gizmos and toys. And as a result, no one's ever learned to question things. No one questions things in this country anymore. No one questions things. Children should be taught to question everything. To question everything they read, everything they hear.
And I don't care what your opinion is. I care more that you have an opinion, that you're thinking about things. You know, I don't care if you're an atheist who likes to LARP Viking, and that's why you consider yourself heathen. Some people disagree with that. I personally think that everybody has their own path and everybody's discovering their own thing. And I don't care if you're a Vitki who dances naked in the moonlight, which I definitely have some pagan friends who fall in that line as well. The important thing is that you think and you experiment with the knowledge, and that you study, and that you're open to new ideas. And one of the things I appreciate about my wife is that she challenges my mind and my ideas. Like, before I moved up to Humboldt, I was a lot more inclined to magical thinking, and a lot of the things that I took for granted I have now questioned, and I either have a stronger belief because I understand it better, or I may have discarded something.
Shit, that was close.
We lost Captain Sky. He gave his life for the uprising.
Yeah. Really makes you think, huh, Morty? We should never take things for granted.
What?
I'm just saying, life's short. We shouldn't take things for granted.
Are you saying granite?
Well, yeah.
It's granted with a D. Take things for granted. Did you actually think it was... Jesus Christ, Rick? What are you, a boulder, a rock person? How long have you been saying that wrong?
Oh, you like that, huh? I bet that really blows your mind.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of great.
You want me to erase it?
What? You can do that?
It's all about personal change. When people don't want to change and don't want to accept change or philosophy, or they don't want to grow as a human being, it baffles me. Even if you don't have goals necessarily, like, even if you're not like, oh, I'm gonna, I don't know, start a business or make a YouTube channel, I don't know, whatever your goals, you know, might be. Even if you don't have goals, you should at least be trying to work on yourself as a person, if that makes any sense. Like, one of the things that has actually gotten me out of like negative mindsets and situational depression is having a goal, having something to attain. You know, I'm getting older now. I'm 34. I got bad knees. I'm not able to go to the gym as much, so, you know, losing muscle mass, and gaining mass in areas that I don't want mass. So my goals are becoming a little less physical, and some of the physical stuff is getting put on the back burner simply because I don't have the time to work on a lot of that stuff. It's kind of intermittent, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that I don't go to the gym every week like I'd like to. But some of those are also goals that I have down the road. And some people may not have the ability to work out. Sometimes medical conditions are in the way, so that may not be a goal that you have. And I mean, like I said, my knees are bad, so there's a lot of cardio that I can't do. Honestly, I stay away from squats too, but I don't want to go on a tangent about that. It's really every path, to get back to my point, every path should be about self-improvement. I don't care if you're a Hellenist or if you're an eclectic pagan. We do actually have a couple of eclectic pagans in the kindred, by the way. You know, I don't care if you're atheist, if you're monotheist, or if you're believe that every single god is a separate god based on region, and that gods need worship to survive, or that you disdain religion so much that you don't even want to think about it. The point that I'm trying to make is that we should always be striving to be better. Understanding human knowledge, understanding human behavior. Why do we do the certain things that we do? You know, challenge your ideas, challenge your bias, figure out what your biases are. I have a bias towards beards.
'Cause I'm bearded. And that's how it's going to stay.
And stay away from camps. You know, stay away from being like, I'm liberal and everything I do is liberal, or I'm conservative and everything I do is conservative. And while I'm speaking, and if you're thinking about some kind of negative camp in your head, that might be the one that you have to explore a little bit more and understand a little bit better. Here's a good example of something that I try to study. Why people I disagree with believe the things that I disagree with. It's only through understanding that we'll gain freedom, truly. Usual crap's in the description. I'm not going to do a long outro. If you watch my videos, you've seen it 100 times. Well, not 100 times, I don't have 100 videos. I don't know, 30 times maybe. Be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. We are the sum of our actions.
Skull!